Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Grapplers Academy. Today we're going to continue our back attack series and we are going to be looking at attacks from the back now, okay? Bonn's got a lovely setup for the smother, which he uses to set up other chokes as well as just smothering people's faces. And I'm going to be looking today at the short choke, which for me is my high percentage choke from the back, and I find it much easier to get than the rear naked, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a bit more accessible, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Most people have got a really good defence on a rear naked choke, so sometimes your short choke's a better option.
Yeah.
Usually a little bit more available.
And a little bit faster as well. It goes straight across the windpipe.
A bit nastier. Yeah, a little bit nastier. Kind of comes on in the same sort of way to that shock of a guillotine, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like just straight blade into the windpipe. That's a nasty one.
Yeah.
The face mask or python, I think. Wagner Rocha likes to call it, it's kind of a little bit, it's one of those that it's looked down, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not always an option that you can use in a tournament.
No.
I know a lot of tournaments don't have it as an option and it'll specifically say no covering of the face. Personally, I don't see what's wrong with it. If you can choke somebody's neck, putting your hand over the face doesn't really seem like too much of an issue to me. It's not nasty, you're not getting anywhere near the eyes with it. It's literally just cupping the nose and the mouth. And what that does is it puts the person on the defence into a little bit of panic mode.
Of course, yeah.
And usually we'll do this one if they're either doing a really good job of burying the chin or the hand fighting initially. And if you can get that smother and get them to lift the neck up and just open a little bit of space for you to immediately shoot the arm in underneath and get the choke, it opens up, it opens the opportunity up, it puts them in a bit of panic mode, and it's not nice to be on the receiving end of. I feel like you could probably get a submission out of it if you just kind of held on to it.
Yeah, like I've got a few taps with it to be fair. But I'd probably say for those that are sort of wanting to use something similar to open the neck up, but in tournaments where you can't use it, a lot of nerves on the top lip, and also squeezing the jaw. If you can push that jaw into the windpipes, you're still going to get the sub. So for the tournaments where they do restrict the face coverings, there are other ways to do it. This is a bit of a better way.
So I've kind of showed you the basic setup on it now from the back position that we've kind of showed you how to get into over the past couple of weeks. I'll show you the specifics that I like to use in terms of the hand positioning on the nose as well to get the most effective pinch and closing off of all the airways. We'll come a little bit closer and show you the details on the hand on that. But the basic setup on the back, again, go back and watch some of the other videos if you're looking at how to get into this position initially, but everybody knows how to work from the back. So we'll just go from the seatbelt position there. Let's say we've got the hand trapped as well, and we're trying to choke with the top part of the seatbelt, but Si's doing a really good job of burying his chin, and he doesn't want me to get in underneath there and get the choke. So all we're going to do is take the hand and make a little triangle out of it and bring that over the nose and cover the mouth up as well at the same time. If we hold that there for long enough, he's going to start to panic, his head's going to shoot up, and then as soon as it does, we're going to bury our hand under the chin, bring the other hand out, and then we can either go short choke or we can go full rear naked choke on that. Really simple, it's just a distraction tool to get them to open that space up and give you the opportunity to hit the submission that you were looking for initially. So again there we've got the seatbelt position, we've got the hooks in, trap the hand, we can't get in underneath the chin, so I'm going to cover and smother the face. We're going to hold that there for a minute until he starts to feel uncomfortable, and then as soon as his head shoots up, straight in under the neck. We can't wait on this one, so if you hold in here and then he shoots his head up and you take a second to think about it, he's going to be back in underneath. Worst case scenario is you just go straight back to the face mask again, but it's a quick move, and as soon as you've got the chin to shoot up, straight in underneath. Now there's also a position, technique I like to use from a lot of different positions as well. Yeah. Like I open up kimuras with it sometimes from side control. Just gets the person panicking on the bottom a little bit.
Definitely. There's a great detail as well, I think Wagner Rocha gave to Escamandez. Like you say, with the shape of the hand, like you say, that triangle that Bonn mentioned is very important, as it helps to create like a vacuum around the nose and the mouth. And the details that you probably don't see, but you will feel when someone does it to you, is the nose crush comes first. So it crushes the nose, flattens the nose, to shut the airways there, and then you cut the mouth.
I'll come a bit closer on the camera now and do it on myself so you can see. So when we're coming through here, we're going to use, I like to use this inside bit of the thumb to close on the nose and use the other finger on the opposite side to pinch the nose, almost like you're squeezing here. Starts to make you sound like you're over an airport tannoy, but we get that squeeze there and then clamping down on the mouth after you've got that initial pinch with the thumb and the inside of the finger. Really difficult to breathe in that position, isn't it? If you want to look like a weirdo or just comply with COVID safe rules when you're going in the shop, you can practice doing that to yourself.
Just give yourself a bit of room so you can breathe.
Don't do it when you're driving, and certainly don't do it if you just sat on public transport as well, because you might get some weird looks.
Yeah.
But a good way of figuring out how it's going to feel on your opponent is to do it to yourself.
Of course. Now, with sort of the way that Bonn used that to set up his chokes from there, that is also a great entry to get into the short choke that I'm going to show now. Now, when I play this, show it from head on. When I do play this, I always think about efficiency when I'm grappling as opposed to the correct techniques. If it works for me, well, that's probably the wrong way to say it, but I will sort of take shortcuts when I fully understand the technique to make it more efficient for my style. So I very rarely play the rear naked, as I find it's much easier for someone to defend. Whereas the short choke is a much smaller movement, slightly different hand grips, and for me it's a higher percentage choke. So I'm not knocking the rear naked, but I find that for me it's a higher percentage choke and it's more efficient to choke from the back. Now, the difference between the short choke and the rear naked is, rather than trying to have the forearm and the bicep either side of the neck, I'm sending the forearm across the throat and the grip is behind the shoulder rather than behind the head. Now, when I'm doing this, again, if they do tuck the chin and I'm sort of attacking here from the seatbelt grip, I do find it fairly easy to sort of come up, and then I always crush the jaw when I go for it if they're doing a great job defending with the jaw. And to sort of stack the odds in my favour, we will look at trapping the hand before we attack the choke here, which we've covered in a previous video. So if you want to go back and watch that and then tie that technique in with one of these techniques, especially for the face mask, massively increases your chances of success if you take one of their arms away, because they've got one less tool to defend with. Now, going for the short choke here, I always play really tight here, and I will start to grip fight and I'll take one of these grips away to start off with. And again, like we looked at in the first video, I'm not going over the wrist. I've got 2 fingers over the hand and 2 fingers on the wrist. Gives me a much better grip on the shoulder and the wrist. Now, with this hand here that I've got over the neck, I'm not just going to start to attack the neck straight away, because Bond's a smart player and he's going to be defending. So I'm going to be sort of coming out and coming back in, and if he touches the chin, I'm going to be walking my hand from the pec up to the shoulder, and then I'm going to grab on the shoulder or the shoulder blade with my fingertips. Once I'm here, I know that I'm in a good position to finish the choke. So once I've walked all the way up here, even if he's tucking his chin, I can still apply pressure to the jaw, which makes them want to kind of either tap, move the jaw out of the way, or makes it really uncomfortable to the point again where they will tap. Or sometimes you can get underneath it with your forearm, especially if you've got really thin forearms. So coming to here, and once I get to this position with my hand on the back of the shoulder and I got my fingertips digged in, I'm going to let go of this, I'm going to come behind and I'm going to go palm up, and I'm going to take a gable grip on the back of Bond's shoulder. So I'll show you the angle and the grip in a second. And then once I get to here, rather than just sort of trying to squeeze and pull Bond into me, my elbow is going to go away and back, kind of like a circle. So I'm reversing round the corner to get the pressure onto the neck. So if you just turn side on, so we can show the grips. So once I get to here, fighting the grip, and I'm walking across and I'm getting to this here, I'm digging my fingertips in, and then I'm going to let go, and I'm going to come behind his shoulder blade with my hand and go palm to palm grip here. My elbow and forearm as well aren't flared out here, because Bond can get his shoulder underneath my arms and it takes away from the pressure on the choke. So I'm using my forearm as a blocker here, so now as Bond tries to get his shoulder back behind, I've still got a good surface here to drive my forearm into, to then pull my elbow back and round. So once I'm here and I've tucked this in, I try to go ear to ear as well, taking as much space away. And then I'm going to circle my elbow away and backwards, trying to cut off the airways at the front. Nice one.
It is a nasty choke.
Yeah.
One nice detail as well that Simon briefly touched on there, I can't remember whether we talked about it previously, is bringing that ear to ear position and getting the hand over. It just eliminates another one of the defences, again, whether it's a palm to palm on a short choke or whether it's on a rear naked choke. If you can get your chin over the top of your own hands, it's a lot more difficult for the opponent to undo that lock. Sometimes I like to talk about when I'm describing a technique to somebody is putting padlocks in place that your opponent's then going to unlock to get out of the submission. So it's another padlock that you're putting on that they've got to unlock before you can get the choke. And the chances are the more padlocks you've got, the quicker, the higher percentage your chance is going to be of finishing.
Definitely.
But that face mask is quite a nice one. You'll probably find it in a couple of different positions as well. It does open up the opportunity for the chokes that we've done today as well as the chokes that we've done previously. It is there in a couple of other positions, so go and practice it on yourself first, preferably, and safely. And then just see what it opens up. It might open up also the opportunity for an armbar. Somebody might start flailing around. You can take the armbar from the back if you're really having a difficult time getting a choke. But 9 times out of 10, with that face mask, it is going to open up the opportunity for a choke, and you've got to be quick on capitalising on it, or you'll just end up running the same loop again.
I think as well it's something that we've touched on in previous episodes, but for me the face mask is one of those techniques that you don't use in every training partner, just because some people might not be as receptive to it. But if you know you've got the training partners where you can have the gnarly rolls with and you can push the tempo and push the pace and push each other, it's a great one to add into your arsenal.
Yeah, I think it's not a dangerous technique. It's no different from a normal choke, is it?
It's far from dangerous.
But yeah, that's a good point. Pick your training partners right with that. This isn't something that you want to do to somebody who it's the first time rolling with them. Don't go to an open mat and start face masking people. You're not going to make any friends that way.
You will get a reputation.
Yeah. You save it for. I wouldn't even say your worst enemies on the mat. Just save it for your best training partners who you like and you can have a bit of a laugh with, because it's funny. But it opens up a lot of opportunity. But it's also an effective technique, so it's one that's good to get practice in with.
Yeah, definitely. And also expect to be called a few names when you do use it.
If anyone knows what cupcaking is, that's an option. So we're not going to go into details on that today. But go and check us out at the Grapplers Academy. Social medias, we've got all the podcasts, so we expect to see a couple of good ones coming up in the next few weeks as well. Late October running into November. We've just done an episode today, recorded that will be out later on in the week. Oh, well, it should actually be out before this episode is up, talking about the promotion and popularisation of athletes in the sport from the major platforms, i.e. Flow, BJJ Fanatics, that sort of stuff. So if you've not watched that one already after seeing this one, go back and check that out. That was quite an interesting discussion.
No, definitely. Make sure you share, like, here's if you've got any questions about techniques or anything that you're struggling with, feel free to drop us a message and we will try to address them in these techniques. Like, you'll notice that we have a theme month by month now for the techniques that we're showing, so we're going to try and stick to those. So if you've got any questions regarding back attacks or even maybe even back defence, I'd be happy to cover that. Drop us a message and we will do our best to sort of answer that question the best way we can.
If somebody doesn't like the face mask, don't message us though.
Yeah.
We're not really too bothered about that. That's up to you to remake friends with them.
Yeah, like if you're not a fan of certain techniques, just don't use it.
Thank you guys.
Cheers.